Welcome to the Beasts of the NFC East podcast. I am your host, Sean Gnitzcavich, with my co-host, Jeremy Goode. Jeremy Goode, what is good?
Well, it's a better week. It's a better game, I think, for both teams this week between the Giants and the Eagles. Both have reasons to celebrate. Just would start off, Sean, congratulating you guys on the Super Bowl win.
All right, let's be real. Like, if I'm going to act like this is a Super Bowl win,
yes,
I have to beat the Eagles' first game of the season when they still have playoff implications on the line. That would maybe make me celebrate like a Super Bowl.
Nonetheless,
I am ecstatic though. But I continue.
I watched the Giants.
I'll take it.
They played very well defensively. Not bad offensively. Didn't score enough, but there were pieces there, especially with Tyrod in. And then, of course, we watched the Eagles. They handled the Dolphins, who everybody loves. I don't get. They're a good team. They're not great. But the Eagles took care of business in their beautiful Kelly green jersey. So good week for both of us. Dallas was on bye. Washington takes a loss. Like I said last week, you Giants fans, you're always mad at me. I told you guys, you're going to win. You're going to win. Washington's not a good team. Something missed with that team. We'll get into it in a little bit, but good week for both of us nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a good week. Good week, when I got to see the Giants play like how I thought they were going to play at the beginning of the season, which I haven't seen until this week. To be fair, I think the Giants have been ramping it up and been getting better week to week. Tyrod looked great. Brian Dable hasn't said that there's any competition, but hey, if Daniel Jones's neck still isn't feeling that well, Tyrod Taylor played great against a couple of good defensive fronts, and another good defensive front we're going to be facing next week with the Jets. Like, hey, I don't mind one more week of Tyrod. If until proven otherwise, Tyrod is looking good. But we can get into that. Anything else you want to say before we dive into the first game?
No, go for it.
I will say it was a good week for people in their legacy jerseys though, because Giants brought back the old throwbacks, which I wish was our normal jersey. I love that jersey, honestly. Right. But yeah, Commanders come to MetLife and the Giants win 14-7. And that score doesn't look like the Giants look dominant the whole game. I honestly, aside from the fact that the Giants have let me down so many times this season, this game I felt comfortable with the way the Giants were playing top to bottom. And yes, it came down to the last second, but I felt comfortable. Tyrod Taylor had a great day, 18-29, 279 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 117 passer rating. Darren Waller, best game as a Giant, 7 receptions, 98 yards, and a touchdown. Jalen Hyatt got some nice Jalen Hyatt play. And the Giants defense, I think the biggest takeaways here is that the Giants defense continues to look dominant. I think the offensive line, as horrible as it is, didn't play terrible against a really good Washington defensive front. And I think that has to do somewhat with Tyrod too. I think that Tyrod was able to manipulate, get the ball off quickly, and he multiple times he threw great deep balls on the run, like escaping pressure, escaping the pocket. And I think that he's definitely looked well behind a very, very struggling. They always have to do the graphic of how many lineman changes there's been. I think also one victory that we didn't lose an offensive lineman this week, which is I think the first time this season that we haven't lost an offensive.
That also might be a loss depending on who's on your line at the time and who. But you see,
listen, I don't want Jalen Mayfield out there. That's for sure. So, I mean, we're down to the thin end. Evan Neal was out this game too, which we had Tyree Phillips, who actually filled in for him last year. We just signed him off your practice squad, the Eagles practice squad. But dude, what a game, man! That felt good. That was like the Giants getting to the quarterback, Sam Howell getting obliterated. Like the Giants were owning that Commanders offense. Like they weren't able to do anything in the entire first half. Second half, I'm pretty sure it was a 3-and-out. They get the ball, 3-and-out. Giants look dominant. I believe Sam Howell, he's got sacked by the Giants 6 times. That's more than we had sacks all season. We had more sacks against the Commanders than we had in the first 6 games of the season. Dexter Lawrence finally got out there. He had 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, tackle for loss. But he was on like almost every one of those sacks, like honestly. Like even the ones that like the one that goes Kayvon Thibodeau had 1.5 sacks. Leonard Williams had a sack. Had a couple tackles for loss. Jason Pinnock, the safety, gets a sack. I mean, Micah McFadden had half a sack. He was on that with Dexter Lawrence. I mean, just our defensive front looked dominant. Brian Robinson only had 23 yards on 8 carries. Like, we were stuffing him. Actually, the only back that really had an efficient game was Chris Rodriguez, which is their rookie.
And he had the most carries. He ended up with the most carries, correct? Or maybe
no, he was 1 carry short of Brian Robinson with 7. But still only 31 yards. It's not like he like gashed us. Mm-hmm. Like he was just able to get those 5-yard runs that Brian Robinson was not able to. Deonte Banks, what a beautiful interception. For a guy who wasn't really known for interceptions coming out of college, just great coverage. I mean, he looked like the receiver running that route, snagging it from Jahan Dotson, behind the back. So beautiful. The bank is closed on Sundays. It felt so good to say. Everybody's screaming it. The bank is closed on Sundays. He looked great. Adoree Jackson was out this game too. So Deonte Banks was covering Terry McLaurin and did an exceptional job for the most part, covering one of the better wide receivers in the league. He still had 90 yards, but he also wasn't strictly covered by Deonte Banks. Like there were some times where our other rookie, Trey Hawkins, was on him. Sometimes where Cordell Flott was on him. But yeah, and Deonte Banks also had some very key tackles, and he had a pass defense too. Like I was really impressed with Deonte Banks' play. Man, I could just go in and in and in. Tyrod, like I said, looked comfortable, looked good. I think we had 5 or 6 plays of over 20 yards, passing plays of over 20 yards. I know Darren Waller got one of them. Both of Jalen Hyatt's, I think he got a 33 and a 42 passes. I mean, that's like, you love to see that. And that's kind of what translated to this win too for the Giants. Darius Slayton, he only had 1 catch, but it was a nice one for 22 yards. Wandale had 1 catch for 22 yards as well, where he had so much yard after the catch. I think he had like 17 yards after the catch, just dipping through, man. He looks so nice, dude. Like he looks almost a little Tyreek. He looks a little Kadarius Toney-esque, the way that he's able to just kind of shift with that speed. But let's get into this too, because obviously the score doesn't look as well. There was a couple of mistakes here. The Commanders have a really great special teamer who actually won Special Teamer of the Week for the NFC, and that's Jamison Crowder. You want to know who he was on this offseason? The Giants. But the Giants said, no, we don't need him. He's a good punt returner, whatever. We're gonna have Eric Gray do it, who's never really done it. I don't even think he did it in college. He's dropped 3 punts this year, and the first one he drops, luckily we were able to – did we – I know that we didn't get the one back from Sterling Shepard, but he got injured on that. Sterling Shepard goes in. He's also never returned punts before. I mean, I was excited. I was like, yeah, Sterling Shep, you know what? If we're not going to use him as a receiver, I love him. I want to see him. Bam, muffs it. And that was the 3-and-out to start the second half. Giants defense continued to look dominant. I think Sam Howell had that atrocious intentional grounding that Ron Rivera was all jacked up about because he, was trying not to get sacked as much, still failed. Then we feel dominant. Sterling Shepard, bam, muffs it. That put the ball in the red zone for the Commanders. And then the Commanders obviously executed Brian Robinson with a touchdown, which, I mean, I'm not rooting for any Commanders touchdowns against the Giants, but I did start Brian Robinson in one league.
Bad fan.
Dude, guess what else, though? I started the Giants defense in both my leagues, and they got 16 points for me. So respect Giants defense. And you know what? I'll be starting them next week, too, against the Jets, because I love this Giants defense right now. They are fun to watch.
Well,
Like I'm
the
excited for the offense and the defense right now.
the Jets
Which
also have a bad offense too. Let's add that. Um,
yeah, is there
yeah,
anything you want to say?
yeah. Looking into the game, Sam Howell threw the ball 42 times, too many times. I don't know why you think you're going to win with him throwing it that many times. Good quarterbacks, you don't win that often throwing it that many times. Why Washington did that, no idea. He threw.
Well, Brian Robinson couldn't get the run either. Like they
Yeah,
didn't go to
he does stick.
Rodriguez till later in the game.
Here's the thing that the Giants did a good job of. Saquon
Yeah.
Barkley, 21 carries, 77 yards on the ground. Not great, but they stuck with the run, meaning Tyrod
Yeah.
Taylor didn't have to throw the ball as much. It was a little more efficient. Sam Howell was probably around 53% completion, where Tyrod Taylor was 280, 2 touchdowns, 18 for 29. You'll take that. It's not, the percentage is not that much better than Washington, but it's better. And, you were more honest with the run. You kept Washington off guard. And you had more than twice as many yards with Barkley that Chris Rodriguez had ultimately. So even though it wasn't an efficient game by Barkley, you got to keep the defense honest with Washington, and that definitely helped. I think Tyrod Taylor throw for 280 yards as well. Yeah, Waller looked good. Saquon, not a great game, but he did have that catch for a touchdown, which was nice.
And that was a really nice play too. I'm pretty sure that was a 2-yard touchdown catch.
He is a threat in the backfield, which will help you guys know absolutely. Up 14-0 at halftime, didn't score in the second half, but defense stayed strong. Good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more about Washington, honestly. I think New York has shown that they'll play defense throughout the last few weeks. Although now we're looking at the Bills and wondering if they're any good because Josh Allen looks like he has a big time injury with his shoulder and he's still playing, which has got to hurt their offense. But yeah, it's a good win for New York. I thought they would happen. Washington's just not a good team. They have good players. They are missing certain pieces to make the team work and be a real threat. And it's probably a good part of it at quarterback with Sam Howell, but it's also other stuff. It's like there's something about the offense where like they need
The offensive line too is like, I mean,
their secondary.
the Giants
Yeah,
had maybe 4 or 5 sacks on the season prior to yesterday, and then they had 6 yesterday.
yeah, their secondary. Washington's secondary is also just atrocious. So
Yeah.
there are holes there, but like even the parts that works for Washington, like their receivers, there's something missing. There's some like they need like a DK Metcalf, AJ Brown physical guy that they just don't have. Even though it seems like they have speed, they don't really have like ultra speed with anybody. I like McLaurin.
Johnson has been like very like
And he's not. I don't
just
know. He's not
you
physical enough.
need to get the ball to him. Like he has that shifty, like he gets that separation. But like, I mean, again, he had what? He had a better game, 43 yards on five receptions. Curtis Samuel also went out for like a little bit, came back.
Yeah, but even those 5 for 43 for Dotson, that's 8.1ish or whatever per catch. It's like it's he's getting involved, but like they want him to like spread the field, and put up maybe 14, 16 yards, twice as many yards per catch that he had. So yeah, I don't know. It's something about this team where like I'm never threatened by them. They might play well. They might get wins too. I just don't. I've been saying it for months on this podcast. Something about this team that I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like they weren't really able to get anything going, like on offense. Like they were handed that red zone opportunity where with the muff punt of Sterling Shepard and then scored on that. They also, by the way, so the Giants were on their way to their third touchdown. Saquon Barkley fumbles it. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
It's a 1-score game. They march down the field. They're at the 7-yard line. They're going for 3. And my boy Leonard Williams, big cat, who had a great day, like I already said, had a sack. had a tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits, blocks the field goal, the first field goal the Giants have blocked since 2017. Our old friend Kerry Wynn. But that was just beautiful. Like the Giants had these beautiful plays. We had those mistakes. The Saquon Barkley fumble, which honestly, he lost the ball as his ass was hitting the ground. But I mean, they're not going to overturn that. It's a fumble, like the way that it goes. Moving on to our special teams, which, like I said, struggled. It would be really nice if we kept Jamison Crowder because Eric Grant looked like the answer. Like I said, muffed 3 punts. Sterling Shepard muffs 1. We had Darius Slayton at the end there taking over, and the Giants were clapping every time he just fair catched it because he just didn't drop it. It was.
I've been there before as an Eagles fan too. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
it's one of those things too. As a punt returner, I don't know why teams do this. If you've never returned a punt, it's hard. Don't put people you can't put people in those situations. It's a really tough job, even how talented of a receiver you could be. So, yeah, you can't. Fair catches. Listen, they're not sexy, but they do the job when you can guarantee possession.
Yeah, I agree. But I have some breaking news too. The Giants have added special teamer, former first team All Pro in New England back in 2020, Gunnar Olszewski, who was just released by the Steelers. Because he also muffed some punts this year. So, yeah, he has some history, but he's also already muffed punts. So, don't feel confident with him either, to be honest. And Graham Gano, too, is also extremely windy. Graham Gano missed a kick early, which was a 42-yarder, which is, routine for him. Usually he's good anywhere shy of, 52. He's automatic.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
But it was windy. They even had to, hold the ball when they were doing the kickoff. I know that I've gone on about how great the Giants' defense was.
Yeah, listen, you hold a team. We've said it here. You hold a team to 14, 17, even up to 20 points a game. Pretty good in the NFL today with these offenses. So 7,
Well, that's the thing, too, is that the Giants
asterisk 7, too, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, asterisk 7, and also the Bills and the Commanders both were averaging 20 points a game going into this.
Right.
And holding them to 14 and 7, respectively. With asterisk 7, too.
20, if it truly was 20 points a game that they're averaging, not great to begin with, but under the average is under the average, and less than 20 points is a win. So, yeah, they're shaping up a little bit.
Yeah, and I also want to Micah McFadden, who I've mentioned last week, he had a half sack, played great with Bobby Okereke last week, continues to impress. He was the highest graded linebacker out of any linebacker this year via PFF. I believe it was an 89.7 or whatever. I mean, it's highest grade out of all linebackers. That's awesome. Being a guy who some Giants fans didn't think should be starting going into this season, but he's definitely proved himself to be a good linebacker. And I think Bobby Okereke, too, had another great game, 11 tackles. I do have to say the Giants ended their not scoring an offensive touchdown all season and not scoring a touchdown offensively since week 3. So that felt really good. 2 of them in the first half, too. And it was also our first touchdown at home.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, first offensive touchdown at home. Yeah, it was. But it just – this is the team that I imagined going into this season. Darren Waller getting the ball, deep shots to Jalen Hyatt. I mean, I didn't imagine Tyrod Taylor, but Tyrod Taylor is operating the way that I imagined Daniel Jones would be operating.
I think that's the biggest point that you made too, is that this is happening with Tyrod, and it's not. It's good in some ways, and I think it's also luckily the Giants have an out with the Daniel Jones contract, which I think they could take, probably should take, but we'll see with that. Yeah, it's just weird if I'm a Giants fan. It's okay, we're getting some steam. It's with Tyrod Taylor, who's not our future. Let's be honest, doing good as a backup, good for him, but he's not going to be the future quarterback. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see it come about in New York. Get the ball out. That's what he's been doing. Get the ball out early.
Yep.
You take away defensive line.
Hasn't made
Um,
mistakes either. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
no interceptions, no fumbles. I mean, dude, Chase Young looked so good. Those 2 sacks, one of them I know was like a 13-yard sack too.
Yeah.
Looked amazing. Shout out to Kaliki Hudson, had his first sack ever. I heard that in the broadcast. Montez Sweat again, like monster. Those 2 guys as edges. He also had a sack. Jamin Davis went down and was replaced by ex-Giant David Mayo, who led them in tackles, but not somebody who you really want there.
Yeah, tackle is an interesting stat.
Oh no, it
And
wasn't. It was Cody Barton who went out, not Jamin Davis. I apologize. Yeah, I remember that too. Emmanuel Forbes, though, another day benched, and for him being like the pick magnet, to see the cornerback taken after him, Deontay Banks, with an exceptional interception. Just I don't know if that's helping his confidence either, keeping him on the sideline. And so it's not like their corners are so exceptional. I feel like, yes, you don't want to ruin his confidence, but the Giants are a team who I feel like every team it's like that's beatable. They don't have crazy wide receivers. I feel like you put Emmanuel Forbes out there. I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe that's a simple way of thinking about it, which isn't, and that's not to be condescending,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think that, yeah, no doubt. You look at the Giants, you say maybe they're a game for a cornerback where a rookie cornerback where you say let's get another stab at it
At least
against this team.
Yeah.
He might just be still out of sorts where like they're just trying to get more of a feel and give him more time. Maybe it's kind of like those redshirt years in college. Sometimes also the Eagles did it with Jacoby Dean last year where he didn't play. It looks like they're doing it a little with Nolan Smith too this year, even though he had a nice sack last night.
Yes, yeah.
It there's something about teams used to draft a quarterback and he'd sit the first year. So maybe it's something like that too. I can tell you that if they really don't have confidence because of his production at cornerback, maybe it does make sense that he doesn't play because it's a long game when you don't have faith in those guys.
Yeah. Also going in, Sam Howell. I don't think we got into this. Everybody's been talking about it. It was supposed to be a sack fest. It was a sack fest. Like I said, the Giants had more sacks than they had all season. Sam Howell is leading the NFL with 40 sacks through 7 games. No other quarterback's been sacked 30 times.
Yeah.
He also has the lead leaguing at 267 yards lost. And no other quarterback has lost more than 150 yards on sacks this season. And he is projected with this 17-game season, so one extra game, for 97 sacks, which would break the famous David Carr 76 when he was a rookie in the expansion team of Texans 2002. Yeah. Which also destroyed David Carr's career. He was the number 1 overall pick.
Well, I thought you were going to say what he got 98. I thought you were going to say which will break his back ultimately.
Also will probably break his back too. I mean, he's a tough guy. I feel like he's a built quarterback to sustain these, but man, this is he's also projected to lose 648 yards on those sacks, which the yards lost in a season was 489. So he is exceptionally getting sacked. And yes, it's their offensive line is awful. Sadiq Charles went down. I think Sadiq Charles was allowing the most sacks this season. But I also saw a stat that most of these sacks are on Sam Howell, even though yes, the offensive line.
I would think so.
Andrew Wiley, I know, has been awful too. Our man Nick Gates could not. Our old Giants favorite Nick Gates could not handle Dexter Lawrence either. Dexter Lawrence was getting the best of him. Nick Gates was getting chippy too. He got all up in Xavier McKinney's face. I remember at one point, Xavier McKinney on one of the blitzes, he had a nice pass deflection too, which I thought was going to come up with us. Kayvon Thibodeau, dude, should have had a pick 6. I don't know if you saw that. It was just Sam Howell literally launched it into Kayvon Thibodeau's hands, and this guy just he looked like Eric Gray out there buffing a punt the way he couldn't get it. Oh man, but he was. I mean, it would have been a pick 6. It was right. Just. Oh man. I think that hits almost everything here. Is there anything else that you want to get into?
I don't think so. I think Yeah, that's pretty much it on my end.
Yeah. Like I said, Brian Dable didn't dismiss Tyrod Taylor starting next week against the Jets. Um, he didn't say Daniel's definitely the guy. He didn't say Daniel's even healthy, but I'm okay with riding with Tyrod Taylor, especially after these 2 weeks. Like
Might as well.
I mean, the big time throws, like he was just. I was getting excited when he launched it like 40 yards, and it was a little out of bounds. Just so like he's throwing the ball downfield. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Taking shots. Yep.
yeah, it's exciting to see.
Yeah.
But congrats, Giants. You know, hopefully, listen, we had one of the hardest schedules. Our next 7 games, I think the only team that really scares me is the Cowboys. So, hey, listen, we are 3. I think we're what 2 games back from being in the wild card picture right now. Like the way things are going in the NFC. I'm just saying we also have the 5th pick because we also suck. But I'm just saying we are not out of this. There's still a chance we make the playoffs. I like the way the team's playing. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to get into on the Commander side, which might actually translate to Jonathan Allen. Man, had some great quotes after the game. Really good quotes. He said, "quote They whooped our ass." Talking about our Giants whooped their ass. That was awesome. And then he also said, and honestly, I'm not even pulling this up. I just remember reading it like 3 times and I thought it was hilarious. And then watching him say it, he said, "I'm sick of this effing," but he said fucking. He said fucking shit. It's been 7 years. There's a lot of F words, a lot of swears. I'm sick of it. 7 years, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Jonathan Allen seems a little bit upset. And maybe everybody said that they were going to trade Chase Young, like before he became like dominant Chase Young, like we all expected him to be. Maybe they move Jonathan Allen. I mean, that's like one of their strengths, but maybe.
Yeah, he's older and he's getting a lot of money, so
And
maybe
you
there's some value.
still have Deron Payne up front. I mean, it's like
Yep.
they've been great at developing. Like they had Matthew Ioannidis prior. Like they've been good at drafting defensive interiors who were successful.
Yeah.
So Matthew Ioannidis, who I had a class with at Temple, actually, great guy.
Well, that.
Yeah, philosophy of
Wow.
the human mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun class.
Why Washington? Jonathan Allen sounds like he said it perfectly. Nothing's changed over 7 years, and he's right.
Yeah.
It's odd to say that that team hasn't been the same without Kirk Cousins. Not that they were great with him, but
Yeah. You like that? I don't think Commanders fans like that. It's all right, guys. I mean, you guys have a pretty easy matchup in the Eagles next week, so stay optimistic. All right, let's move on to the Sunday night football. Man, Underwood. I love hearing that Carrie Underwood belt, getting me all excited for some Sunday night football. We were waiting all day for a Sunday night. I almost didn't make it Sunday night. I didn't make it all the way through Sunday night, but I caught most of it. I was celebrating a nice Giants win. So the Eagles beat the Dolphins at home in their Kelly Greens, 31-17. It was a decently close game for the first half.
yeah.
And I could have seen it going either way until the Eagles kind of pulled out at the end. But I will let you take this, Jeremy. This is your expertise. This is your game. Take the mic. I yield my time.
Quite honored. Yeah, a game that I think the Eagles kind of had to have after a very disappointing Jets game to put at the very least. The Eagles were just simply dominant throughout the game. Offensively, they looked very good, which has been a change because not a lot has clicked for them. They were scoring touchdowns. They were putting across good plays in the red zone to score touchdowns, which was awesome. And defensively, they were just amazing against Miami offense that has scored 70 points this year. That has looked very good this year. Probably the best offense going into the game. Jalen Hurts threw a pick 6, so the defense only really gave up 10 points. It was impressive. I mean, it was a great win. They held on to the ball a good bit. I don't have those stats. I can try to look them up, but it seemed like the Eagles control the clock like they always do. And when they do that, they usually win. So it's kind of a recipe for success for them. Um, AJ Brown is a wild specimen. I'm glad he's on my team. The mix of his physicality, the mix of his playmaking, the mix of his catching, and still gives you good speed for his size. Oh my God, what a treat! They got Dallas Goddard involved. Run game wasn't too special, which I was a little surprised about. But they moved, they were moving the ball. Swift had some nice moves too to keep the chains going. And they held, I think it was like they held the Dolphins to 12 first downs for the game,
Wow.
which is absurdly low.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to how they played. Sean Desai, first year as a defensive coordinator, has just been absolutely awesome. He's put across some great game plans. And, you're never going to shut out Tyreek Hill ultimately. He
Yeah.
is very fast. Watching him against your own team, you can tell it's just different. But they contained him enough. They contained Wild enough. They tackled, which was great. They swarmed. They were able to get to Tua a good bit. Hassan Reddick, Temple made
Yeah.
all
Good guy.
all over the place. He was in coverage. He was getting to the quarterback. He was getting pressures,
Good
stopping the
against the
run.
run too. Yeah.
Yeah, and also just like, and to be completely transparent, to be fair,
Mhm.
both of Jalen Hurts' turnovers were absolutely awful. His fumble sucked, and his interception he threw he threw a guy. It looked like a corner blitz. He threw right into the blitzer, and it ricocheted off and was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Both were terrible, but he picked it up, and when he needed to make a play after that, he certainly did. Big throw to AJ with 5 minutes left to put the game out of reach. Ultimately, give them two-score cushion, and scoring and moving the ball for him was pretty easy. Besides those turnovers throughout the game, so statistically, it looks good for him.
Mhm.
Two bad turnovers nonetheless, but he picked it up towards the end, last 20, 23 minutes of regulation, and looked good. So it's a win. Not perfect. They have
Yeah.
stuff to work on, but it's one of those things too where you look at this game. It's like if you beat the Jets last week playing poorly, it's just a game where like you just completely drop the ball. It's
Yeah.
worth considering. I'm not exactly sure, but I think last week against the Jets left a bad taste in their mouth, and I think that they were pretty hyped in their Kelly Green last
Yeah.
night,
Look,
and
dude, and
really
against
just
that Miami uniform too. I mean, what a uniform matchup. Just beautiful for the
they have
eye.
good colors. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, Miami has good colors, no doubt. Um, and they played good football. It was nice to see them really execute offensively. Defensively, it's been great, and yeah, I was still impressed with them defensively because they're going up against so much talent and so much speed. But cheers to the offense for scoring 4 touchdowns this week, which
Yeah.
was probably the biggest difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that Jerome Baker pick six was that was very ugly. And
Yeah,
Jalen,
that was bad.
and he also on one of the scrambling plays he hurt his knee because I think he was wearing the leg brace the whole second half. Is there any
Apparently,
word on
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, they said he's good. They said he's going to play through it. He's fine. You still don't
Mhm.
love to see him rocky a brace because of a bit of a, injury, but
To
you
be
move
fair,
on.
Trevor Lawrence was put in a leg brace too, and he was running all over the place on what
Yeah,
Thursday Night Football. Yeah, and they were talking about he was
yeah,
questionable going up to the game, and he rushed better than I think he has all season. So like it doesn't always mean anything. Um,
yeah.
Darius Slay with that beautiful interception too, man.
I didn't
Like
mention that. Yeah,
that beautiful. Did you mention the Jalen Carter flopping?
I
Did you
did not.
and how he
They didn't show.
flopped and he
Yeah,
emulated
they didn't show the
LeBron
replay of
James?
that on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. I just saw the video and I saw him talking about it, but
Yeah, I saw him fly. The only thing I saw was like live where like he flew and then the camera like went to something else.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, on that interception too, Cunningham looked very good,
Yeah.
and that's my cat goes. And
Is he
oh
wearing an Eagles jersey too?
no, just a little coat, so like he's chill and he doesn't like bite everybody, bite his other cat sister.
Oh, that's good. I mean, hey, dude, Honey's still rocking her Giants jersey,
Yeah,
but
I bet.
yeah, she's
Honey
still
wears that
rocking it
jersey.
proud.
Honey wears that jersey when they lose, so.
Well, I usually take it off after, especially after like I'm like you don't. I feel bad that I even made you wear this for that loss. But she's wearing it proud, and she looks good in it. So
No doubt. On the Slay interception,
yeah,
actually Cunningham, they did it to Mostert in the end zone, and Mostert can catch, no doubt.
yeah,
But Cunningham actually did a good job of like screening him, and then Slay came in at the end, which was nice. It's nice to see like different parts of the defense work together. Um, so
it's good
yeah,
that Cunningham too has produced for you because that's somebody who you didn't have coming into the season.
we're pretty thin at linebacker between him, Jacoby Dean, and Nick Morrow. And Morrow's been great for getting sacks,
Yeah,
but those two haven't been like amazing in coverage. You kind of settle for that, but it was good that they could get back to their ways back home in Philadelphia and just play dominant football. Like Miami, they played okay, but I think that they were really shook with the way they were played defensively. And we
yeah,
can get in if we really think Miami's that good of a team, but
yeah.
they were
I
still
mean,
they were still
they've been
five
my
and
Super
one.
Bowl favorite. They are
Yeah,
my Super Bowl favorite right now. So
yeah. They their defense. I know they're hurt a little defensively, but overall their defense looks kind of weak. So and they can
mm,
be exploited that way. But they're still 5 and 1. It was still a tough contest for the Eagles, and they put together a good game plan everywhere, which was nice to see especially after the Jets.
yeah, yeah. It was a pretty solid game. Chase Claypool didn't do anything. Didn't really expect him to. Bradley Chubb with 2 sacks. Jalen Phillips with a sack as well. I mean,
Yeah.
those only 3 sacks. I mean, you figure it even less for this Eagles offensive line, but things happen. Things happen.
Yeah, Jalen's still he's still in mode where there are times where he does not know where he is in the pocket or how long he's been holding the ball in the pocket or when he should leave the pocket when it gets busy around him. So I think a few of those sacks might have been on him,
Mhm.
but otherwise they kept it lowish. So that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to see how things shake out tonight. We are recording this on Monday before the Niners game. But hey, maybe the Vikings pull through and the Niners drop 2. I think Trent Williams is out, right?
Is he? That
And so
helps.
with Daniil Hunter, who's been on a tear, I think he leads the league in sacks this year. So
Hmm.
maybe he'll get to Brock Purdy, get him shook, and maybe you guys get a game away to lead the NFC, especially with the
Well, I'd love.
Lions. The Lions would got blown out by the Ravens. So I
Yes.
mean, just kind of recapping where the Eagles are in the NFC.
Listen, it would be
So
Minnesota would be nice. I just with Kirk and no Justin Jefferson, it will be difficult. But
yeah,
go
I
ahead,
mean, hey,
Minnesota. Go ahead.
Hawkinson, Addison, KJ Osborne isn't terrible. You know,
Yeah, no
I,
doubt. They have that receiver pal too, who they think can step in a little for Jetta. So
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. Anything else you want to get to? I know Jordan Davis with another half sack. Jordan Davis has still looked really
He
good.
was great. He was great against the run. He had a nice sack, and he really clogs the middle. And it added a few pressures too. So
Yeah,
he had a great game. Sweat too. Josh Sweat was
yeah.
very
It
quick.
looked good. Looked really good. I mean,
Jalen Carter
he is great.
he
Yeah.
injured their guard Isaiah Wynn, so
Hmm.
their backup came in, and then um, Josh Sweat just completely annihilated the backup, especially towards the end of the game when they were getting tired, and the Eagles, and that's where the Eagles prevail on the defensive line, where they're able to take advantage of stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's you guys. You guys look good. I had one more thing that. Oh yeah, you already mentioned Nolan Smith got his. Was that his first sack of the season?
First sack of the season. He hasn't had any snaps. It's like, which I get, not
You don't
awful. I
need
get
him with all the other pass rushers.
right. It's a little annoying seeing like Derek Barnett get like a significant amount more snaps than him, which is like, what are we doing there? But yeah, it was nice to see Josh Sweat get around the edge like that and come through.
Yeah. Julio Jones, dude. I mean, this is something that we haven't even talked about. Like, I mean, let's be real. Everybody thinks Julio's washed. It's still
Yes,
exciting having Julio essentially to be wide receiver 3? Like, I know that he just got signed Thursday, so like I don't know how much
Yeah, I
that
mean
count.
he replaces Quez Watkins, and the thing about Quez Watkins is he hasn't done much all year. So whatever you get out of Julio is a win for the Eagles. It's a band-aid move. I don't think it'll have too much of an impact. What positive, a positive impact. If he gives you something, go with it because he's doing it in Quez's spot. So that's how I view it.
Yeah. Devonta Smith, though, still a quiet game. Didn't even eclipse 50 yards. I mean, 4 for 49 is not terrible, but it just seems like he's kind of like falling behind. So I don't really expect anything with Julio Jones, but I feel like it's been A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, too, the past few weeks. So,
Yeah, Devontae had a good game. He had a few big catches during the game too. Um, it, Jalen Hurts just is very comfortable throwing the ball to AJ Brown, as you can imagine. But their friendship, their relationship, and just everything, he there are times where Jalen definitely just has eyes to one player, one side of the field, and that's number 11, AJ Brown's side.
yeah.
So it's worked, but they definitely need to, mix the ball up a little bit more, I think, if it isn't working as well, and go to other guys, like Olave Zacchaeus, our
Yeah.
other slot guy, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, maybe Julio too.
Yeah.
So
Dude, and Kenneth Gainwell, that's the funny thing, too, is that I was like, he had that nice touchdown, right? He had that touchdown run. Yeah. And
he
I was
did.
I was complaining because, dude, like, he still averaged 2 yards per carry. Like, I feel like they were putting him in on run plays
They
where,
run him stupid, yeah.
yeah, they run him. So, and we've said this before, dude. But I'm like, why do you have this
So
tiny like receiving scat back, like Kenneth Gainwell running it when you should? I mean, I think that touchdown run was successful because of what they try to do. Like they try to put him in there. They're like, obviously, they're not going to be running it with Kenneth Gainwell. They'd have Swift in, but
and
yet
that
they,
was a touchdown. That was a touchdown to put them up 2 scores with 4 minutes left. Correct.
yeah, yes, I believe so. I think
So
fun.
so anybody could have scored. Like if I'm Miami there, I think they're also thinking, let them score because then we can save like another minute worth of game time, and because at that point, even if you stop them, the Eagles are running the ball. You're only going to get like 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, down 10.
Yeah,
I think they'd probably want the ball with 4:30 left,
yeah.
down
That's
14 maybe. I don't know, but
4:46. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, they do. Kenny, part of it's on Gainwell too. He hasn't been able to hit the holes like he has before. But like, yeah, stop running. He's Swift. They want to make sure Swift's health is there. Apparently, with Rashad Penny, they like having the luxury of not using him because
but
if
they're
they need
saving
him,
him
they
for
can
later
then
in the
pull him
season.
right, which is kind of stupid. But like, I
Yeah,
understand a little bit of it. His knees also could be shot too, but yeah, unfortunately, they want to save Swift, and a lot of the touches he should be getting, he's not because they're doing it to Gainwell. But
yeah,
Gainwell still delivered towards the end.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I don't know. I still, like I said, it's frustrating. Like if I'm an Eagles fan, like I said, he averaged 2 yards per carry. I feel like he just kept getting stuffed. Like
yeah,
he just.
it's the same thing up
I
the middle. Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of those play calls, but like
yeah,
I mean, I don't mind. Like Matt Breida had a couple of runs. I mean, he also only averaged like 1 yard per carry, but like he was in there just like to spell Saquon, um,
right.
which
Counter.
I
Yep.
totally got. Yeah. Anything else you want to get into with this Eagles team? I mean, they got another win. Then they got right like
Yeah,
31-17. Like that must feel good. The sloppy play from Jalen obviously doesn't help. The knee brace,
he
I feel like
bounced.
that kind of showed too. With his rushing was still kind of limited this game.
Yeah, he bounced back well though from the turnover. So it's like it's really tough to evaluate those kind of games because like you can't turn it over twice and in the fashion that he did for a pick six. It's just a brutal fumble too.
Yeah,
But he bounced back. He made plays when he had to, strong plays and plays which led them to a pretty comfortable win.
yeah,
So
can't complain. I mean, you guys are still only have one loss, tied for the lead in the NFC. Are you guys the one seed as of right now? Not that it matters because obviously more is going to happen. But are you guys the one seed over the Niners? both being 6-1.
I guess technically.
I guess right now you are because the Niners haven't
played, right?
Yeah, but if they win tonight, do you know? I don't.
I don't know how it works. I think we're just dead even.
Yeah. Hey, and one thing to bring up record-wise too, and I mentioned it, like the Giants won, so did the Bears, so did the Broncos. So, I was rooting for those loser teams to win too. So
yes,
yeah, it definitely makes me feel better. You ready to start previewing the up and coming week?
Yep, I have it right here.
All right, so the first game is going to be Jets coming to MetLife to play the Giants, which is where they also play. So it's one of our home games that we get. That's also going to be an away game because I feel like it's going to be split. The Jets are feeling great, coming off a bye after beating the Eagles. They get to ride high, beating the Eagles, get a bye week to prepare for the Giants. Yeah, this game is going to be interesting. Like the Jets defense has been pretty phenomenal all season. It's not like they've been unstoppable. I mean, the Broncos put up 21 on them. Eagles only 14. Chiefs put up 23. So, and hey, we played in the preseason, and those Jets fans were getting chippy. It's a preseason game, man. Like people have this game circled because of how the Jets fans they beat us in a preseason game and think that they own something on us. Where I don't think we had any starters in. So the Jets defense, yes, has been great. But like we've been talking throughout this episode, the Giants defense looks like a premier top defense. Going up a Jets team that has still struggled to put up points with Zach Wilson behind center. I'm hoping Adoree Jackson's back. I believe he will be. I feel like it was kind of like a questionable game time thing because he was just questionable. He wasn't doubtful throughout the week. He was questionable. Just ended up being out. But, you know, with the way Deonte Banks has been playing, Trey Hawkins, you know, he's got his snap counts decreased. Cordell Flott's been playing good in game. I mean, the only wide receiver that really scares me on the Jets is Garrett Wilson. And as much as I respect Breece Hall, the Giants have been good stopping the run. And the linebacker play has been good. The tackling has improved. I feel good. And I feel like we've kind of unlocked something with this explosion. Jets-wise, injury, I think Sauce should be back, right? I'm not entirely sure. But I feel like
I think Sauce is back.
Yeah, with that bye week, I think that'll give him the time. But yeah, I think keys to success for the Giants here are definitely going to be the recipe that they use this week. Getting Darren Waller the ball, getting getting the ball downfield to Jalen Hyatt. Those explosive plays to Jalen Hyatt made a difference.
I hate to interrupt you, Sean. We do have breaking news on the podcast.
What?
4 minutes ago, Diana Rossini tweeted, the Tennessee Titans are trading all-pro defensive back Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles.
No way, dude.
The Eagles will be sending a 5th, a 6th, and Terrell Edmonds, who I think I'm most excited about that, just the fact that Terrell Edmonds doesn't play anymore for this team. So it is a 5th and a 6th for Edmonds.
Yeah, dude, Kevin Byard.
And Edmonds for Byard, yeah.
Yeah, Byard's like one of the best safeties in the league. So you just got your least favorite safety is gone for Kevin Byard. I mean, yeah, good for you guys. Good for you, man. That is breaking news.
It is. Listen, you're going to get everything with this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Not that the podcast is live, but...
Yes, but it'll be out. It'll be out. Well, I'll make a slide for Kevin Byard. Well, we can talk about that. Let's finish this Giants thing. Actually, no, because honestly, when you said breaking news, I was terrified that the Giants were going to be trading one of our players. But I feel like after this win, what
breaking news?
What?
Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles for Kenny Gainwell.
No. Dude, okay, well, Saquon said he doesn't want to be traded. Leonard Williams says he doesn't want to be traded. And they got
Yeah.
into it too. They were like, it's not just like we love this team, and also nobody wants to move their family. And like, dude, the New York market is very profitable for these guys. Like, Leonard
You make
Williams
it.
had like
Yeah.
a nationwide commercial for like a few years, which
Well,
I
he
don't
probably
think
had
he would have.
he probably had the same one with the Jets too. He was
Yeah,
benefiting from that
it was with the
market too.
Jets. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it makes it interesting. I know Saquon's name was probably the biggest on the trade market. It makes it
yeah,
interesting now what they do, especially because even though Saquon isn't what he used to be, I think this team is pretty bad without him. So
yeah.
interesting to see how hard they go in.
Yeah, I'm also, dude. I'm just like reading this like boomer Sizen saying, is the Jets win over the Giants inevitable? No, it's not. It's not inevitable, dude. Like the Giants played very well against the Bills, who also have a great defense. They're a little handicapped. They lost Matt Milano. They don't have Tre'Davious White. Yeah, I get
Mhm.
it. But I want to see the Giants perform well against a good defense. Obviously, better
Yeah.
cornerbacks than Washington, but I think if Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones is able to like we have different weapons that we can use. Like if Jalen Hyatt's down the field and he's open, toss it to him. If not, Wan'Dale Robinson is good at getting open and trying to get that first down underneath. Darius Slayton too has great explosion. Darren Waller was used in all levels of the field last game, which is why I think he had his best game as a Giant with 98 yards, because he was
Mhm.
used for like a 5-yard, which he turned into a first down. And he was also, like I said, I think he got a 23-yard pass down the field. I mean, we need to spread the ball out. Defensively, keep doing what we're doing. Keep getting takeaways. Keep bringing that pressure. Like, I think that Zach Wilson, with Wink Martindale's blitz scheme, getting him pressured, I don't really trust Zach Wilson. Like, I know he's been up and down. Some people think he's a little bit of a success story because he was written off. But if we're getting pressure the way that we did, I know that the Jets have like a much better offensive line than expected. I wouldn't say it's one of the best in the league, but it's probably
Mhm.
middle of the pack. But yeah,
I mean, it's an interesting game. I think the Giants being able to play solid defense the last few weeks makes it really interesting. Um, I could go either way. I hate to say it as an Eagles fan, but I think it could go either way. Jets defensively, it'll be interesting to see how Tyrod or whoever reacts to that. If the Jets bring it defensively, offensively, they just have to do a little bit, I think, which would be enough. I'll have to think about who, with my prediction, who wins this game because it could be
this,
close.
this is where I'm going here. I think the Giants keep this rolling. This
Mm.
positivity. I think we go 21-10 Giants. 21-10 Giants. That's where I'm going. I think that the Giants defense continues to hold teams to, under 20 points. I think that the Giants offense gets going. We should have had 3 touchdowns in that last game. I think we're bringing the heat. I think we're bringing
Mm.
the heat. Some bold predictions. I think I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt with another game of 75 yards, and I go into Darren Waller breaking the 100 mark this time.
Oh.
Because I think that was the key to success. That's like why the offense looked so good. It's getting like it's when I've been doing like these the graphics for like the stats every week, like I go in and AJ Brown has almost like the same amount of receptions, the same amount of yards. It's always around that same mark, and I feel like they find, and honestly, like the passing numbers too for like Jalen Hurts, like usually passes at the same amount. Like offensive find these recipes where they need to get their balls to their certain receivers. Obviously you make the read. Like you're not like I'm going to force this ball to Darren Waller, but you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying. There's play
Yeah.
designs to get these guys open where they're obviously the first read, and I think that we need to be getting the ball to those guys. Jalen Hyatt is a superstar in the waiting. I think that he has it in him. That explosion, like he's fast, and that was a beautiful catch too. Like that 43-yard one where he got his foot in,
Yeah.
they challenged it. Like that was Like, I want to see more of that. Like, he's shown to be great. He also dropped like it's really awesome, but it was a hard catch to make. That would have also been another big play that last game. But I don't care if he catches 2 out of 4 of those and gets 80 yards. You know, like that's huge for the offense. So, yeah, I'm going 21-10. Like I said, yeah, Jalen Hyatt going over 75 yards again, and Darren Waller over 100. Your thought?
It is a tough game for both. I think it could go either way. Like I said, it will be 23-13. The New York Jets.
Oh my gosh, dude!
Fireman Ed's gonna have a good day. Johnny
What
Ice
about
Cream's
license plate guy? He's gonna have a bad day. License plate. Dude, I
Yeah,
want to see a fight
nice.
between license plate guy and Fireman Ed. Honestly,
That would be
Huge
interesting,
Super
actually.
fans. Yeah.
Yes. Johnny Ice Cream will get his ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think so. I hope it melts. He drops it on his lap.
Bold predictions, I will say. Give me Saquon over 59.5 yards on the ground. I don't know how bold. I guess it's bold.
I
with the
don't know.
defense.
Well, no, I think with this defense, like
It depends because if he's going to get
game,
21 touches, yeah,
yeah,
he hasn't
I mean,
broken anything. All right, fine.
yeah.
I'll go over 69.5 then.
69.5.
Yes, on the ground
All right,
over.
I liked it a little better.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I don't like that score prediction though. I really don't
I'm
like that
sorry
score
about that.
prediction, man.
I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest with the people.
Yeah,
And let's see. I'll give the Giants one. Tyrod will have.
Well, okay. If you're gonna do a Tyrod one, you have to, just in case Daniel Jones, you kind of have to cover both spectrums here.
Okay, got it. Tyrod will have over. Let me see what he did last week. Okay, Tyrod will have over 249.5 yards throwing.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Jones will have under 173.5 yards throwing if he plays.
Yikes. Dude, you know,
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, he had his passing yards at 200 and it was plus 100 for him to throw over 200 yards, which I was like,
Really?
They really did not have faith in him. And he threw for like, what, 290 just about? Yeah.
Listen, I thought he played decently against Buffalo in a way.
I thought he did too. I mean, he had 200 yards, but that Buffalo team is still tight. And I feel like the way that game was going was just slow, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. But
his
first game in there, the way the game planned,
yeah.
could have gone a lot worse, I think. And he stood in there pretty well. But yeah, those are my predictions for that. What do we also have? Game 2. What is that? Eagles Washington.
So actually, all the games are at 1:00 Eastern time this week.
Interesting.
So do you want to do Eagles Washington or do you want to do Cowboys?
No, we can do Cowboys. We haven't done Cowboys in a while.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the Cowboys because they were on their bye week. They're going to be in Dallas, and the Los Angeles Rams are coming to them. The Rams just lost to the Steelers, who I have not really been a huge fan of the Steelers. They handily beat the Cardinals. But I think the Steelers were also coming off a bye too. But now the Cowboys are coming off a bye. So able to game plan. Darrell Henderson was decent in his start. And they kind of replaced Kyron Williams with Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson, and then I don't know what happened with Zach Evans. Like he was supposed to be the guy to replace him, and then just no Zach Evans. But I digress. They're going to be probably doing a little bit of a juggle there. Cooper Kupp was shut down against the Steelers. Puka Nacua had another explosive game. So going into this Dallas game, I don't know. Dallas, before going into the bye, CeeDee Lamb exploded. He looked great. Defense looked good against a pretty explosive Chargers team. I see this game going. I have no reason to think that Dallas won't win this game. I think that Dallas will probably win this game by 7 points too. I think that Dallas has a lot to prove coming home, coming off the bye. I'm gonna go Cowboys 27, Rams 14. That's
Got
a
it.
pretty. I feel like the Cowboys defense is going to come in with a lot to prove. They still have a great defense, despite what everybody wants to say, with a couple flukes in there, against the 49ers. But as explosive as this Rams team has been, they're not the 49ers offense. You know?
Right. Yeah, I have a
Take it
similar
away.
thought process. The Rams were intriguing in the beginning of the year. I think they're kind of figured out, but I think they're better than like what a lot of people thought going forward. They're competent, good offense. They're going to lose probably 30-20 to Dallas, but they'll put together some drives. I think they'll have to settle for some field goals, which will hurt them. But I think Dallas is too good for them in this game and will win in Dallas 32-20.
32-20. All right.
30-20.
Oh, 32-20. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So pretty similar to what I had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bold predictions for the Cowboys. Listen, the Rams don't have what the hell? The cornerback, the best cornerback in the league, Jalen Ramsey anymore.
Right.
And honestly, the names at cornerback aren't very intriguing. I mean, like they have Aaron Donald. That's like their big name on defense. I see
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb getting fed again. I see him going for 100 yards. I also
That's what
think
I was thinking.
I think CD for 100 yards, and I think Tony Pollard for 150 yards from scrimmage. I think that.
Wow, both. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're both going to eat because I think if the Cowboys, like Mike McCarthy does want to be conservative, so maybe they'll be running it with Tony Pollard. Obviously, they're going to have to run away from Aaron Donald because he is still a monster and one of the best players in the league. But if he's not getting it done, getting the ball handed off, he can usually get the ball out of the backfield and have like a productive 80
Yeah.
yard game. So I see him going 150 yards. It's all right, Dallas. Don't say that I don't give you guys your respect. Yeah, that's what I'm projecting.
I was thinking exactly the exact same thing. I was going to say over 100 for CD, which I think would be his second week in a row doing it, or second consecutive game doing it since they were on bye last week. I'll change it up though. I'll say, and this is bold. I'll say that Dak just not turn the ball over once. Really bold.
That's bold. That's bold.
Listen, I agree. Yeah. I'm not saying it because I really believe it. You need something bold. I'm going to give you something bold.
Yeah. And he didn't have any interceptions against the Chargers. So hey, 2 consecutive games for Dak. Hey, we're getting pretty pro Cowboys here. Yeah, because this is kind of like I feel like the Cowboys should win this game because they also have the Eagles next. I mean, you guys are kind of going on a run.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
What's it say? Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. I love to see it. Is there anything else you want to get into it for that game? I feel like that's.
No, I don't think so. It'll be interesting watching that game because the Rams are intriguing offensively. Stafford's done a good job, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we have the Philadelphia Eagles going to Washington to play the Commanders, also at 1. So I got the 3 TV set up. I'm going to have to get all 3 games on one strip. Sorry, my friends that are Patriots fans. You're not. Luckily, I won't have to watch that one on this TV. It's actually he was really nice. He actually watched it on his phone yesterday. I was like, "Thank you, please." But that was a good game too, and they beat the Bills. But I digress.
Well timed, Mac Jones.
Yeah. All right. Hey, dude, you guys had a good win against Tennessee too.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I lost another bet there, but that's nothing new. So, the Commanders, although they got shut down, which is crazy because the Eagles having such a great defense, they put up 31 points against you guys, and that had to get into overtime, and that was a close game. But they just got shut down by the Giants. Do you think that maybe your defensive coordinator will see the success the Giants had with all these crazy heavy blitz schemes and kind of follow suit. I feel like you guys
Mhm.
don't like have these structured blitz as much. You just have really good pass rushers on the line, so like they're able to
Yeah.
get through and get the pressure and get the sacks. But do you think that bringing the heat and bringing more designed blitzes, do you see that in this future to maybe give the same result as the Giants against the Commanders?
It's a good question. I think that they're still going to rely solely on their speed on the end to get the pressure. Maybe they blitz a few more times than they would normally do, but I think that they'll still rely on what, their bread and butter, game the speed on the edges. Hal, oddly enough, when we played him, did a really good job of escaping a lot of sacks. I think he was still sacked for 4 times. I
Yeah.
think we
5
watched too.
times. Yeah. And also
5
that
times.
was the Nicholas Morrow game. So I guess that was kind of like
Yes.
design blitzes too, because he's usually an off-ball linebacker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was going to say maybe we'll see more Nick Morrow this game.
Possibly. Yeah, I don't think they up the blitz. I think they stay true to, what they're good at, which, good thing and a bad thing in some ways. But maybe they add a little more pressure than normal. Otherwise, I think they try to play their game and go about it, the same way they always have, but try to work on a few things that weren't good the first time around against Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting here because the Commanders who started this season 2-0 are now what they're
3-4 now.
3-4.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wait, yeah, I'm looking at 3-4. Yeah. So they kind of got the pressure. I want the Eagles to beat the Commanders big time
Thank you.
because well, first off, it's like the Eagles have sealed the first. They haven't sealed it. Things to go downhill. Jalen Hurts is still playing a little sloppy. The Cowboys are 1 game back.
It's still early in the season.
It's still early in the season, yes, but I would rather the Commanders have a downfall to give the Giants their spot, which I think they still are in the wild card picture right now. Not that it matters; it's still early in the season, but
right.
Yeah, I see. I think we got to go bold predictions both ways. I see. I don't know. I see Dallas Goedert having another big game, especially if Cody Barton's out again and you have to rely on David Mayo. I feel like Jamin Davis still is not amazing in the coverage aspect of the game, despite having a nice interception last game, not against the Giants. I see Dallas Goedert eating. I'm seeing a Dallas Goedert game. I feel like he's going to be still second to AJ. I feel like AJ is going to be the wide receiver 1 for the Eagles moving forward every game. Like it's just hard for him not to be. He's just so dominant.
Right.
But I see Goddard with 100 yards as one bold prediction, and I also see. I hope that the Eagles kind of run away with this and they have fun and give Julio Jones some play. And maybe, which I don't know if they will even do, considering their whole take on Rashad Penny being like saving him. They might be doing the same with Julio. Like if need be, if Devonta goes down, if AJ goes down, they'll bring Julio more into the mix. But I think Julio, I'm just going to say, Julio ends up with 50 yards, like which is like kind of bold, considering he only had 3 yards in the last game. But he'll have a full week to prepare. I want to see some Julio, honestly. I have a Julio Jones jersey from when he was on the Falcons. I was always a huge fan of Julio. And I don't know if you know this too, but I used to see him like once a week when he played for the Titans. He would come in once a week just for our turkey.
Wow.
And good dude. I made him laugh. I gave him this knife. I made a joke about the knife. This is the best knife we have. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Yeah, because he needed a knife. So whoever gave him his food didn't give him a knife. And I was like,
I see.
Which actually, this is the best knife we have. Here we go. And he was like, oh man, dude, you want to play for the Titans? But no, he didn't say that. Yeah.
You might help the Titans. I'll say that.
You want to do your bold predictions for the Eagles, and then we'll do bold for the Commanders with a little score too.
As great as the game as Hassan Reddick had last week or yesterday against the Dolphins, he didn't have a sack at all.
Yep.
He will have 2 sacks against Washington.
I kind of
at least 2. At least 2 sacks.
Okay. I mean, hey, dude, like this is I should have went like I think Sam Howell might get blitzed. I think he might have like 10 sacks this game. I mean, like I don't know, man.
I'll also give you a free prediction, a
Yeah.
fun one. Eagles, Kevin Byard, first game, interception.
Okay. All right. I like it. I did say we could talk
We know
about Kevin Byard.
this week. Yes.
I think he'll play this week. I mean, if you had Julio Jones coming off the couch, like Kevin Byard's still been playing with the Titans, so
True.
man, I know a lot of Titans fans that are going to be very upset about that.
I bet.
Very upset.
We stole AJ Brown for a cookie, and now we get Kevin Byard.
And hey, even Julio Jones, who they thought was going to be something for him, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he can contribute a little bit.
Yeah. So then I'm going to do this. Well, let's do Commanders, and then we'll do a score prediction. I think I'm trying to say something good here, but I could see Sam Howell having another atrocious game. Despite, I mean, he played really well against the Eagles the last time that you guys played.
He did. Yeah. He did.
And like he's been this roller coaster throughout. I mean, he didn't have a turnover the last game. He had almost 300 yards. But you know what? And like Brian Robinson, he got stuffed by the Giants tee. I don't really see Brian Robinson having a good game. I feel like, you know what? I'll say this. I think Chase Young is going to continue his havoc. And I think that he gets 2 sacks. Because I feel like Jalen Hurts has been taking those sacks like that. And Chase Young is just like, every game I watch him, he's just looked immaculate. He might actually lead the league in sacks now after this. Double check here. Because I know that Daniil Hunter going into this week led with 8. And he only has 5. Actually, Kayvon Thibodeau has more sacks than him. 5.5. But yeah, I'm going to say 2 more sacks for Chase Young. And I think Terry McLaurin continues to dominate despite the Commanders' offensive woes and struggles. And I think that Terry McLaurin gets 85 yards. That's not that bold, but, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Washington holds Eagles under 109.5 yards on the ground.
Okay.
I don't know how bold that is, but
109, but specific, but yeah.
Yes. And
it'll be easy if they keep running Kenneth Gainwell. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no doubt. McLaurin, Samuel, and Dotson will contribute to more than 17.5 catches for the game.
Okay. All right. That means that you're giving him at least 17 completions, so good for you.
Yeah.
No
doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Even though this is in Washington and the Commanders put up
Eagles play well there too.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Listen, I think that Jalen Hurts is gonna have a good day passing because this Commanders secondary has been awful. I don't think he's gonna completely light it up. I'm gonna go. Eagles 20. I'm going to go Eagles 27, and I'm going to go Commanders. I think they'll sneak in there. I think the Commanders will do their best and fight hard like they did. I'll give them 17. I'll do 27-17. Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
34-17 Eagles.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're giving them the 17 too. They'll sneak a few in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Brian Robinson will probably find the end zone like he's been seeming to all
year.
But yeah, hey, man, we got a bunch of because we have matchups on matchups within the division. They're kind of coming all in a close span. So next week we have the Cowboys Eagles. The week after that we have Giants Cowboys. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of inter-division rivalries going on, which I'm excited to watch. Like those are always good games. So
yes,
we shall see. But yeah, it's been a great episode. It feels good going in, like having a Giants win. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna soak up all of the media. People will probably still be talking about how the Giants are trash. Hopefully, we won't be in the last 3 ranked teams in everybody's division or NFL team rankings. I think we still were at like either 30 or 31, despite a decent showing against the Bills. Hopefully, we move into like the 20 to 22 range. I don't know. I think we have to keep piling up some wins. But hey, Commanders, who knows? Like all the power to you if you guys can stick it to the Eagles. You know, we're not. I'm not counting you out because I feel like we've seen both sides of the spectrum from Washington this year. And Dallas, I hope you lose, but that's not how I'm seeing it. So it's been a great week, Jeremy.
Yes,
Very
Sean.
exciting news with Kevin Byard.
Thank you.
But we are the beasts of the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
And keep watching. Next week, we promise to bring even more heat. Maybe Jeremy will bring out his cat again.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe you know what? If the Giants win again, I'm gonna have Honey throughout most of this wearing her Giants jersey proud. So let's look forward to another Giants win. Let's bring in another one. All right. Well, that's all for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys are still listening, and we will see you next week.